Game officials are Paul Henson, Brian States, and Brent Stocker.
Quickly going over the starters, Jahi Carson, Terrell Baines, Terry Thomas, Al Richter, and Akeem Ellis for the Island Storm. And for the Hurricanes, Tyrone Watson, Cliff Clinkscales, Antoine Mason, CJ Washington, and Billy White. Scratches tonight for the Hurricanes, Jaquan Zimmerman and Mike Poole. My name's Dan Hobson alongside Vince Williams. And this is a really important game here for the Hurricanes. It really goes without saying, but we said it anyway. They must come away with victory because to go over to the island down two definitely was not in their script here for them.
Absolutely not, Dan. Stewart coming off the bench, he was also good in the third and fourth quarter. They got it done defensively, switching up their defenses. They gave different looks for Halifax in their half-court sets, and that was a major problem. Halifax was unable to adjust to those type of adjustments, meaning that they went from a man-to-man defense to a zone defense, where that zone defense was very active with the hands. They were getting steals, deflections, they were getting opportunities in the open floor off of turnovers and steals, and making Halifax take tough shots. And that was the difference in that second half. Halifax cannot surrender more than 100 points if they're going to win game number two, so it's a must-win situation, Dan.
John Hunt, Paul Hansen, and Ryan Lutz, the officials here this evening, and just 2 seconds off the clock, and it's tipped out of bounds, and Storm will get the basketball on the first shot of the game. And Vince's points here, folks, was just exactly what Joe Salerno said he was trying to do, is make them take the shots, because he says he knows there's a lot of big men there in the paint. Make them take those shots, and then the more shots they take, the better they are going to be. Here's Ellis with a shot, and it hesitates, but then goes down there for the bucket, and a 2-0 start here for the Island Storm.
Yeah, better start for Ellis in game number two than game number one. He was taking shots from beyond the arc, and I mean beyond the arc was definitely couldn't be, you know, that's the saying usually when they're close to the three-point line, but he was shooting it from way out.
Billy White taking it strong, and it rattles down and goes for the bucket, and we were tied just like that, and that's a good sign there for the Hurricanes.
Yeah, Billy had a strong game, got into some foul trouble in the first 24 minutes, and that hindered his offensive productivity. Ended up with 8 points in the first quarter, and basically the second quarter was sporadically in and out. Coach Mike Leslie had to gamble with Billy because he was playing with 3 fouls in the early going. So tonight's going to be a little bit different. You will see Billy be a little bit more responsible when it comes to his defensive tactics.
There's Al Richter and Tyrone Watson, and tied ball, and it collapses one of the advertising banners there close to courtside. So we're going to have to get one of those new ones there for the next home game. And Al Richter is the only person here in the Island Storm that has played in every game so far in the regular season as well as playoffs. There is Clinkscales now. Drives and trips over Washington's feet, loses the ball, shot clock at 9, and recovered. Mason into Washington, no, picked off there by Baines as he got in the lane of that one. And Jahi Carson swigs it out to Ellis, who's got a bucket so far. That's swatted away. Good D just in the nick of time there by the Hurricanes as we just passed the 1.5 mark. White, did he get away with the elbow? Nope, it's going to be an offensive foul.
That's a tough call on Billy there, as Richter was able to step in front of him and force him to go right through him. So that's Billy's first, and here we go again. Potentially Billy getting into foul trouble. He needs to stay on the floor to be effective, and you need Billy's offensive productivity and his defensive presence.
Here's Terry Thomas, as Vince mentioned off the top, successful over 20 points in the win on Sunday, but was unable to hit that time. A one and done there for the Island Storm. Nice pass by Clink Scales to Washington. He was unable to click the first time. Second chance. He puts it back and makes it 4-2, coming up to 2 gone in the first.
They need to continue to pound the ball inside that painted area. Look to attack the rim, not settle for jump shots in the mid-range or from beyond the beyond the arc, but they need to continue to be aggressive, just like the Island Storm are.
Hurricanes really kept Carson at bay, but he had a little bit of a lane, and then Baines tapped it in off the missed shot there by Carson, and the Hurricanes come back the other way. There's Mason for 3, and it bounces in and out. Watson gets it at a new 24. And now an alley-oop, and that was unsuccessful, and another chance there for the Hurricanes. So not only did they have second chance, a third chance, and they weren't able to get a bucket.
They got to put those shots down. They got to be effective offensively. They got to make sure that if those second and third chance opportunities come, they got to make the Island Storm pay.
Oh, what a nice pass there by Ellis as he threads the needle inside to Al Richter, known more for shooting threes. But a nice pass from Ellis, and it's 6-4. Hurricanes now start to throw it around here as they'll do an entry pass here to White. Now he gets the return pass there from Watson. The clock at 8. Tipped into the air, and Watson right there with the clock at 3. And he'll have
just
a
like
chance
we drew
to
it up.
complete the three-point play on
Watson.
the hard.
Very unlucky play on this defensive sequence for the Island Storm. They got what they wanted in the early goings. You can see in the replay they're tipped away, but the pressure on the inbound in the entry pass underneath to Billy White, you can see that on consecutive possessions defensively. The Island Storm are looking to double team the bigs of the Hurricanes. Jahi Carson did a good job of rotating, got the deflection that they wanted, but the lucky bounce, the basketball gods on the side of the Hurricanes on that possession, Dan.
First lead for the Hurricanes here tonight is the three-point play is completed. 7-6, Ellis from deep. That's no good. And Hurricanes turning defense into offense, and the basket won't count as the head official, John Hunt, blows the whistle down.
But I like that. I like that they're being
Storm
aggressive
foul
and they're
on
attacking the
Akeem
rim
Ellis.
and looking to get the ball to
His
the
first
rim.
team foul,
So good run out in the
number 2.
mid-range, and that's what they need to continue to do. And that's the things that they've been doing all season long that's been very positive, and they've been able to, basically win this Atlantic Division by being aggressive with the basketball.
Ellis called for the foul, and that's going to go out of bounds, and it will be Island Storm basketball. And Joe Salerno spitting out some instructions here to his guys on the floor. So far, no substitutions. The regular starters still out there as we're coming up to the 4-minute mark here of the first quarter in game number 2 from the Scotiabank Center. Baines, and he took too many steps and turns it over to the Hurricanes. 8:06 left.
Yeah, good attention to detail there by CJ, though, closing out on Tyrell Baines. Tyrell Baines had a pretty solid game from the field as he was able to knock down multiple jump shots from the mid-range, and he was very good statistically knocking down shots. 6 for 12 from the field, ended up with 13 points. And he was very solid for Coach Joe Salerno in game number 1. So I like that defensive sequence by CJ closing out and forcing Tyrell Baines into that turnover.
Like the aggressiveness there as Clinkscale drives, and then he draws 3 orange jerseys over, hands it to Washington. That's the 3rd foul there for the Island Storm, as that's the 2nd against Akeem Ellis, and Washington to the line as it rattles down and goes in. And A.J. Stewart comes to the scoring table here. The big 6'9" center out of Kentucky. Having a fantastic first year for the Island Storm, he is. Has 36 blocks, so all of a sudden things may start to get a little bit harder there for the Hurricanes to try to get things going in the paint as the big man walks onto the court for Ellis. So Ellis has a bucket and a couple fouls and will sit there on the bench there for Joe Salerno.
Yeah, A.J. Stewart was very solid as well.
Pretty easy bucket there. A catch and shoot there for Mason from outside, and it's the largest lead now for the Hurricanes, up by 5, 11-6.
You like to see that, Mason catching and shooting and not hesitating. He's been very solid from beyond the arc in the last few games here at Scotiabank Center, so continuing that hot shooting.
Clinkscale's going for the foul, not too happy with the call, and we'll see it right now here on the board for your folks at home.
Yeah, definitely the right call.
And I'll quickly back, they come the other way. Blake Scales with the ball. We'll swing it here to Tyrone Watson. 7:20 left to go. Another alley-oop. Washington had to come down and get it. Slam is what White was wanting to do. Looking for a foul, pleading for a call. None's coming, but they get a new 24. And a second chance opportunity. Watson. Nice ball movement inside Washington. Tough takeover. AJ started it.
Yeah, outstanding ball movement in that second chance opportunity. Another turnover. And there's the defense aggressiveness, the attention to detail, being aggressive, forcing the turnovers by the Island Storm early in this first quarter. And that's the type of defense that they've been getting all season long. We just didn't see it in game number 1.
Henson getting earfuls from both Terry Thomas and Salerno there. This play's back underway.
Billy White
A total different team tonight, Dan. The Halifax Hurricanes off to a quick start. Usually we've been accustomed to seeing these guys be very slow in the first quarter, but they are being very aggressive. Second chance opportunities, but you got to think that this type of strategy, this 3-2 zone, this matchup zone with trapping into the bigs is going against the Island Storm thus far. We haven't seen them really play man-to-man defense, and it's been killing them. Those second chance opportunities and great ball movement has been breaking down that type of defense.
Unable to complete the three-point play. In the meantime, Richter comes back, hesitates, the ball is, and finally goes down. So Richter with 4 here makes it 15-8. But foul's getting to be a little bit initial here for the Island Storm. They've got 4, 2 to Ellis. And of course, we talked about the one there to Richter just a couple of seconds ago. And a nice hands there by White as he has a nice little touch and puts it in, and it's 17-8.
Attacking the rim in the slow rotation and a second chance opportunity. Billy slipping in there for the easy putback.
Mason had difficulty with the ball, regained it, but they've turned it over once again, and Thomas now with the Jets on will swing it over, but the pass had a lot of mustard on it, but it was behind Richter. And another turnover, and now we're going to see Brad Steets come into the game. Actually, he's going to be turned back as timeout is called here on the floor. 6:03 left to go. It's the Halifax Hurricanes up by 9, 17-8. And we'll be back here in a couple of seconds with more action here from the Scotiabank Center. And we're back here with more first quarter action here from the Scotiabank Center. 17-8 Hurricanes leading the Island Storm. Game number 2 at the NBL Atlantic Division Final. Vince Williams and Dan Hobson along for the call, as well as the Silver Vision crew, as Mason puts up a 3 and it's no good. And Thomas now putting on the Jets. And 1.
Yeah, very nice take coming out of that break there for Terry Thomas on that one and done. Finally, the Island Storm were able to effectively block out and limit the Halifax Hurricanes to that one and done and get into the open floor. And Terry Thomas has been very good all season long. Most recently named the top Canadian in National Basketball League of Canada, and deserving so is Terry Thomas. He's just been very good for the Island Storm all season long, and a well-deserved accolade for him personally.
Regular season and playoffs combined, averaging 19.4 points a game. Hurricanes, shot clock running down. It's down to 6. Blake Scales now on the take, and that's no good. White, second chance, and that hits the weak side rim and no good, and Jahi Carson with the ball. One-on-one coverage. Him and Clinkscales, that's going to be an interesting battle in this series. Of course, Jahi Carson really good at passing the ball as well as Clinkscales. Has the ball, here's Bradley States. Brad States puts up the 3.
And that is a part of Bradley States that has been improving all season long, especially when he played his collegiate days at the and a melee ensues there. And a crowd gathering between these two teams, and that's what it was like in game number 1. Especially in the early goings in the first 2 quarters, where after every whistle, they've been coming together, talking, having discussions, and I didn't know there was any bad blood between these two teams throughout the regular season. We didn't see any here at Scotiabank Center.
Well, it's getting to be that there's a lot on the line, and all of a sudden, over the next 2 weeks, you're going to see each other, so it's a matter of putting up a stand. And it's also, you said 8 times they met in the regular season, didn't see any heat, but now there is. Right. And
big
it also gets to a point where you say, well, I'm getting sick and tired of seeing that number 13 in orange out there, and the 13 oranges. I'm getting a little sick and tired of seeing the white guy won. You know, that's what it's getting to be like, is that you're all of a sudden hatred starts to be formed between the teams.
First foul is on number 7
good to see Brad State start to get things going.
Storm. Yeah, absolutely. Bradley State's been very good, 5. Athletic guy.
Then we have
he can slash, he can get to the rim, a great defender in his days at the University of Prince Edward Island, along with his days at Acadia University from Bathurst, New Brunswick. This guy is very athletic, and for him to knock down a 3-ball in a playoff game, you got to be happy for the young man.
His father was very athletic as well, as he played for Acadia, and Brad's sister is an excellent volleyball player for the Holland Hurricanes in the ACAA, so it's athletics runs in that family, Vince. An alley-oop unsuccessful, offensive foul going against Clinkscales.
There's Bradley States once again stepping in and taking the charge on Clink. Just above the restriction line there, and forces another turnover. So
team foul, number 4.
Coach Salerno's gamble of bringing in Bradley States early in this game number 2 has been paying off in dividends thus far in the last few possessions.
Thomas, chance to tie with the outside 3, no good. And it tips off the Hurricanes, so it's going to be a new 24 here for the Storm. And what was a comfortable 17-8 lead, all of a sudden 6-0 ride here by the Island Storm, and they've limited it down, or got it down to a 1-possession game.
Yeah, I mean, the defensive adjustments, making it tough for the Hurricanes, challenging shots and not giving up those second chance opportunities have put them right in position here to get a little bit closer to tie this ball game or take the lead.
An AUS connection there. Thomas and States get together, and States will go to the line.
Team foul, number 5.
That's the 15th foul, and that one's going against CJ Washington. His second. States to the line, 63.5% from the free-throw line this season in playoffs.
Now, I do like the aggressive nature right now that we're seeing off defensively by the Hurricanes, but on the last few possessions, their over-aggressive nature and overplaying the ball and allowing the Island Storm to go backdoor has hurt them in few possessions. And there's a second chance opportunity here as Bradley States missed that free throw.
1 and 2 from the line. Carson drives, can't get it to go, and coming in to gather up the rebound, Mason quickly up to Clinkscales over the timeline. Now into the paint, entry pass. Loose ball up for grabs. Still down on the floor, and Washington hits the dirt, comes up with it for the Hurricanes, and that pass is picked off. Richter just lays it up. And it's a tie game at
Well, I now have neck
17-17.
pain, but that's 2
You
points.
see
for
the fight
Al
all the ways
Richter.
back, and Billy saying to his troops, just calm down. Let's try to get back to what we were doing well, move the ball around, try to move that zone defense, and try to pick away at the holes inside that defense.
Salerno said, it's the will to win, and they're showing that will to win right now. They were down by 9, and now it's even Steven, 17-17 as the shot clock winding down, and Washington shoots the 3. No good. Thomas, second chance on the Carson take. Carson a little bit slow to get up, but he's okay. And what a run that the Island Stormer are now.
And
that's finished there by Mason there, and he ties it up at 19.
And there's the weakness right in the middle of that 3-2 matchup zone. If they can just get the ball and swing and move the defense and get a guy cutting without the basketball to get that ball right at the free throw line, that breaks down the defense, and then you get into a situation where you have a 2-on-1 or a 3-on-2.
Stewart set the screen up so that Thomas can drain the 3. 22-19, 2:41 left to go.
And that jump shot beats all defense, no matter what type of defense you're playing, man-to-man or zone.
Mason inside to White. Washington and denied there by Thomas. Clegg Scales puts up the 3. That's too strong. And that's just what you say about basketball gods. Washington gets an easy bucket.
Staying with it.
Lucky to be good. Sorry, buddy.
Staying with it, absolutely. I mean, second chance opportunities have given them the benefit of the lead, but, you know, limiting those second chance opportunities and making it tough for them. The Island Storm were able to creep back into this game, and now we got, you know, a 1-point lead for the Storm, where it looked a little bleak in the early going for them.
Under 2 to go. Shot clock at 3. Thomas puts it up. And that's no good. The weak side rebound there by Billy White. Throws it over to Clinkscales. Gets the return pass. White. Tyrell Watson. And it was no good, but on the weak side there was Washington with the putback, and it's 23-22.
It's all coming from the middle of the paint. If they can just continue to get the ball in the middle of the paint by a cutter without the basketball, a flashing cutter in the middle after good ball movement, they're going to be able to break down that defense. And you can see it on that last possession. The first shot didn't go, but the second chance opportunity's there because the defense is unable to rotate and block out.
Stewart with the tough take. He was actually looking for a hard, but he got the bucket to go, and it's 24-23. Watson on the take. Count it.
Tyrone Watson.
And one more still to come here for the New Mexico State product.
Yeah, things got a little shaky in consecutive, possessions. They allow the Island Storm to creep back into this one.
Mike Allison.
Late in this first quarter,
Stewart,
but they continue to be aggressive, and that's what we need to see. Continue to attack the rim, move that basketball, and look for your opportunities going towards the basket. And that was a beautiful take by Watson as he was able to complete the three-point play.
Taps in.
Bowen comes in. The previous substitutions, Mike Allison, the former.
What do you think of that shift by
River
Tyrone
Lion,
Watson?
and of course, a familiar face here to Hurricane fans, Rashad Wack and Al Stewart. Out on the floor now for the Island Storm. Thomas goes down Main Street, closes at the last second there by the Hurricanes. Whack for 3, no good. Going up high, coming up with it is Cox. Turning to be one of the fan favorites, Mason. 1-on-2, and White tried to finish and couldn't. Second chance bucket. 28-24.
Yeah, second chance opportunities are killing the Island Storm right now in this quarter. I mean, they've been just giving them up at a furious pace. At one point, they did a good job with the one and dones, and the reason why they were able to get back into this game. But if they're going to try to steal game number 2, they need to clean up that and make a major adjustment going forward into the second, third, and fourth quarter.
Mike Allison makes it 28-26. Shot clock shut off, and no fouls to give here for the Island Storm. Well defended there, loose ball. Wack will come up with it, and now they got numbers the other way. Stewart. 6 seconds left, layup, and tie game, 28-28.
Yeah, Al Stewart was a catalyst down the stretch along with Rashad Wack. They had outstanding games coming off the bench for the Island Storm. Al Stewart ended the night with 8 points, but those 8 points came all in the second half when they really needed them. 4 for 6 from the field, and Rashad Wack was on fire from start to finish. Ended up with 17 points, 6 for 8 from the field, and he was very good defensively as well. So, I mean, those two guys have basically were a difference in the reserves. And if you look at, the numbers from the last game, the previous game, as I'm trying to speak over BJ here, but from the previous game, and we'll talk about this one, BJ. We'll let BJ, we'll send it down to the court side where BJ has an announcement here in between the quarters.
And welcome back here to the Scotiabank Center. 28-28 after the opening 12. Along with Vince Williams, my name's Dan Hobson. And Vince, just before the break, you want to go over the first half, our first quarter numbers there.
Yeah, absolutely. We're just talking about the contributions of two players from the Island Storm, Al Stewart and Rashad Wack, and particularly the bench. The bench was very good for the Island Storm in game number 1, 42 points from the bench and 19 points for the Halifax Hurricanes. Definitely was a difference. Al Stewart, like I said, was very good in the second half with 8 points, and Rashad Wack finished up the night with 17 points. Those two guys were very, very good in the third and fourth quarter, and the reason why they were able to steal game number 1 here and take a 1-0 lead.
Second quarter underway from a very nervous and quiet Scotiabank Center. Baines, no good. There's a ball battle won there by White, and they'll come up with it. A one and done there for the Storm. Just 19 seconds gone here in the second. Joey Haywood, the former SMU product, out on the floor. Bowen, who came in as a substitute late there in that first quarter. Haywood calling for a screen, gets it from Cox, puts up the shot,
Joey
and bucket.
Haywood.
Teamwork there. Cox with the screen, Haywood with the bucket.
Yeah, Joey. I like to see Joey get off to a good start and then good positive jump shot in that mid-range, and he can do that. Above 43%, above 40% three-point shooter on the season. Joey Haywood's been good in that particular role.
Thomas just got himself into double figures in points, 10 so far with that bucket. A little hesitation there by White. Now he'll walk in towards the paint. Bowen with the ball, cross court to Haywood. And the people in the front row have to do a little scattering there, as the ball almost had a little bit of dental work scheduled for them, but they just got away just the nick of time. 10 to shoot.
And that's
still
called
Hurricanes
in
ball.
The game for sure.
Well, you said those courtside seats, you got to keep an eye on the ball. White, no good. And Wack comes up with the rebound. Wack, as we mentioned, a veteran here of this team. You think of some of the rivalries that they've had here, of course, with the previous organization, Rainman, of course, Wack and Ziglinski. Of course, Ziglinski was with the team for a little bit as we take a look at the replay here of the Wack drive.
Yeah, able to draw the contact on Joey. At one point, Joey, in that, I do believe in that second quarter, surmounted at 3 quick personals. And just came on consecutive plays. I'm not sure if he planned it that way, but the game was getting a little tight in that second quarter, and they had fouls to give. But by the third one, it looked like he wasn't really trying to play the aggressive defense, but he was called for the third, and he was not happy about that at all.
Wack trades both free throws, 85.4% from the free throw line. That's the best there on the Island Storm in the playoffs and regular season there for the Rashad Wack, as Haywood's outside jumper from beyond the arc doesn't go. Here's Wack once again. Puts it into Allison as they try to connect. Second chance, Wack off the glass and in, and All of a sudden, Wack will get his first bucket of the night.
Rashad Wack.
Actually, could be the fourth point, pardon me. There's White. No good. Cox with a battle.
Yeah, they're slowly going away from the style of play that they had in that first quarter. Being aggressive and attacking the rim with great ball movement. Now they're settling for threes from beyond the arc, settling for standstill shots. They got to continue to attack the rim. When they get the opportunity and it opens from the good ball movement, attack the rim, and there it is right there off that inbound. That's probably one of the only breakdowns that we've seen defensively besides the second chance opportunities from this Island Storm 3-2 zone.
Yeah, I was to see it right there. It was too easy there for Cox, and now he'll have a chance to get it within 1 point here.
AC hits the line, shooting
the line.
a single.
And he's slowly, like, I wouldn't say slowly, but he's really getting like a fan support here as being one of the favorites scorers. Talk about Clay.
Yeah, it brings a lot of energy. Brings a lot of energy, and you know the guy is very animated and very engaging. And of course, Chris Lydon talked about his smile in the introductions. He's got a very effective smile, and it's inviting. So.
Haywood would try to put up his traditional floater that was just short. And now, back of the Storm. A 3-point lead now. Stewart swings it over to Wack. 9:23 left to go. Shot clock at 12 as Wack puts it up. And right there was Haywood going up to get it. Goes end to end and now turns around the other way. White now in the paint. Allison on him. And it's going to be a foul going to Mike Allison as he got the way there of Billy White. Now White will shoot 2 free throws.
Yeah, that's a good matchup, but down low.
PEI foul on Mike Allison.
Billy White definitely in favor. Favors that matchup between him and Allison on that particular set. Good patience by Joey Haywood, taking his time, not rushing. He had numbers there. He could have attacked the rim, but good defensive transition by the Island Storm. And outstanding patience by Joey Haywood of getting the ball inside and recognizing the defensive mismatch between Allison and Billy White. So good possession there offensively by the Hurricanes, and that's what they need. They need to be patient and not rush things. The last few possessions, they were jacking up shots and no ball movement, a lot of one-on-one play. Team basketball is going to be the name of the game this evening for them to get this W.
White gets both free throws, 2 of 3 from the stripe. Now have a seat as Ronaldo Dixon takes his spot here on the floor. Jahee Carson with the ball. Swings it over, Baines, open look over Cox. As Cox got there just in the nick of time to contest the shot, but he can't hit. And Haywood has the ball, gets across the timeline. Dixon, deep 3, no good. Bone, a new 24, short rim. And Stewart goes up with it. Lots of energy he brings. Jahee Carson. Oh, crossover there on Haywood. Ed Baines gets fouled, and 3 throws coming up here for him.
Hurricane foul on Kenny
33 left to go.
His first team foul, number 2, Akeem
Ellis
Ellis.
returns. He's got 2 fouls and immediately talks to the crew chief here this evening, John Hunt. Baines from the stripe here, 70.1%. The regular season of playoffs, and he joins the first one.
Attempting his
Keeps it
second.
a 1-point game for the meantime. And the second on the way. 6'7" forward out of Marshall. The second season with the Island Storm, and then rattles around and goes down. It's a 2-point game, 37-35. 3.5 gone here in the second. Haywood. One-on-one against Wack. They switch it around. Bowen now has the ball. Otieno out here on the floor. Cox now drives. Oh, whipped by Ellis as if he was a telephone pole and put it up and in. 37-37.
And that's the possession that they need. Great ball movement, move the defense, and Cox moving out the basketball. And the beneficiary of that good ball movement and him moving without the basketball. But they can't give up those easy opportunities back the other end. They got to turn up the intensity defensively.
Otieno can see a lot of playing time in the regular season. Here he is on the floor there, and
got to make that shot.
Yeah, Cox unable to hit on that one.
Gonna get it every single time, Dan. We've been mentioning it. If they can get that ball between the free throw line and the restriction line, a lot of opportunity there for the individual to get their offense going there. But he's got to make that shot.
Speaking of got to hit that shot, Baines should have hit that shot there for the Iowa Storm. And now here's a foot race. And it's the speed of the hustle there. Haywood gets back and denies the numbered rush there on a 2-on-1 for the Storm as Haywood got back. And on top of that, he's going to go to the free throw line. One hustle there by the Vancouver, British Columbia product.
Richter taps in
Who, as we mentioned earlier, played for SMU.
Wow.
Outstanding. Take a look at this, folks. He was able to track that down, beat Al Stewart to the basketball, and a good decision in the open floor. Had numbers, knew that he could attack the rim, and he was able to blow by Jahi Carson. And Carson had no choice but to foul him. Was called for the reach. Outstanding sequence there defensively and offensively for Joey Haywood.
Doing it at both ends, as they say, as he hits that first one. And a chance here to tie with 7:20 left to go. And 39-38 basketball game here from the Scotiabank Center, and does. Good few minutes here for the Haywood off the bench here. And a game that they kind of really would like to have. They do not want to go back to Charlottetown down by 2 is Jahi Carson. It was bugged there by Bowen. Stewart now puts on the brakes. Ellis deep 3, and that hits the glass. And it's going to be Hurricanes basketball. Good defense there. Yakeem had to put it up as the shot clock was running down, and he was well from outside to 3 and got the glass and no rim.
Well, I tell you what, Dan, do not fret if you're an Island Storm fan. You know, you may be a little bit surprised if you're just tuning in and watching these two teams for the very first time, and if you're a Halifax Hurricane fan, you want him to continue to take that shot. But we've seen this in game number 1 where he was taking shots from about that distance and beyond. He was missing them, but then he got hot in that second quarter, and it carried over to the third. And he continued, and he was knocking down shots in timely fashion for the Island Storm. So
fade away for Cox there.
Don't think that's going to be the last attempt from that distance from Ellis.
And Hurricanes have a lead, 41-39. Had the lead earlier than that first quarter. There's their ball, and Stewart there underneath the hoop, and then he's hacked trying to get that second chance opportunity, so he's got 3 throws coming out.
Yeah, good battle there between Stewart and Haywood as he was able to outmaneuver Haywood underneath the basket, the smallest man on the floor, but probably one of the biggest hearts is Al Stewart. This guy's been doing it for a very long time in the National Basketball League of Canada, and he's been very successful while doing it.
Stewart's pretty good from the stripes, 79.2%. And the Hurricanes must be aware that Thomas is getting ready to check back in. He logs a lot of minutes here for the Iowa Storm. Of course, he was, as you mentioned earlier, the Canadian of the year here in the NBL. And Thomas averaged, in terms of minutes, 36.4 a game. So.
Yeah, and that was dialed up last game number 1. He had 39 minutes in all. And like we said, he ended up with those 20 points, 14 of them in the big time and winning time. As Al Stewart goes to the bench for the Island Storm. And winning time in that second half, he struggled. He was 1 for 3 from the field in the first 24 minutes. Had 6 points after the break, and he just exploded in that second half, put the team on the back, and he was able to get that W for the Storm.
Blake Scales as well as Watson, the only starters left on the floor here for the Hurricanes. Bowen, Dixon, and Cox. As Bowen puts that up with the clock at 3, no good, and Thomas reaches to the heavens and brings that one down for the Iowa Storm. Ellis burst his speed, and it doesn't go, but he's going to have a chance to go to the free throw line.
Halifax foul.
5:54 left.
Just to finish up on Ellis, man, he was his game was all over the place at some parts of the game in game number 1, taking shots from crazy places. And I'll finish up when BJ does his thing on the floor.
41-41 is where we stand here in the second quarter. Alongside Vince Williams, my name is Dan Hobson and the Silver Vision crew. Game number 2 here of the NBL Atlantic Division Final, with the Iowa Storm leading the best of 7 series 1-0, looking to take a commanding 2-0 lead here this evening. And free throws on the way here for Ellis. He was fouled there just before the timeout on the floor and drains it to make it 42-41, 5:54 left.
Yeah, Ellis was very good in game number 1. I mean, he struggled at early going in those 3-point attempts. Ended tonight with 3 for 6 from that distance. Had 18 points, was 7 for 11 in 32 minutes, and he was very good once, along with Jahi Carson and Terry Thomas in that second half.
Billy White inside. Cox.
Anthony
Talking about
That's what they got to do if they're going to come away with a victory.
I'm telling you, I mean, if they can just get that ball in between the foul line and the restriction line underneath the basket, and someone can actually make a good decision with it, either attacking the rim or give it to an open player, they're going to be able to break down this defense.
Mason with the steal, tried to go in and he's fouled. Paul Henson with the call there on the end line there, going against Jahi
Storm
Carson.
foul on Carson. His
But with
third
breaking down
team
that
foul,
defense,
number
Dan, they got to be
4.
able to make shots. It's professional basketball is able to make a miss league, and
Al Stewart
making
taps
shots
in
are
for
going to
Prince
be
Edward
big.
Island.
So it's not only to get those attempts, but you got to make those attempts.
And how key was that to Jahi Carson? Third foul.
Yeah, that's
So
huge.
now it's Hurricanes have got to take advantage of him being on the bench here with 5:15 left to go till halftime.
But if you're Coach Joe Salerno, but you got to be happy because your reserves are playing well. Al Stewart's been playing well. Rashad Wack's been playing well as well. So, I mean, he can't be really nervous. You want your number 1 guy, and Jahi Carson, you want him out there doing his thing. But Al Stewart's been doing a pretty solid job, as you can see right there.
Stewart.
Boy, you couldn't have scripted that better if you tried there. As you mentioned, he gets the bucket, and it's a 45-43 lead once again for the Storm.
Just lots of heart and determination out of Al Stewart, the smallest man on the court. He just never gives up on a play. It's just motors always running as Al Stewart, and it was dividends in that put-back layup as in that last trip down offensively for the Storm.
Another tough possession there for the Hurricanes. They're unable to hit. Ellis with the ball so far with 4 points there. A.J. Stewart guarded there by Cox. Over Cox and bucket.
Yeah, that's a tough shot, and that forces a
Timeout,
timeout for
Halifax.
Coach Mike Leslie. He wants to talk things over, but that was a tough bucket by A.J., able to step back and knock it down.
Back with more in just a couple of seconds. Back underway, a 9-point lead for the Hurricanes. Ahead there in the first quarter has gone by the wayside. Now they're down by 4 as we come up to 4 left to go here till halftime. Mason with the ball inside to White. 4 to go. White along the end line and bucket.
White.
Good possession coming out of the timeout. Good ball movement getting inside the Billy, and Billy was able to break down that defense, and that's where you need to get the ball down. We're going to say it throughout the night, and they're going to continue to say it. It's going to be an echo. It's probably things that fans don't want to hear, but if Halifax is going to be successful in putting points on the board, they need to get the ball down deep inside that painted area and break down that 3-2 zone.
3:45 left to go. Here is Al Stewart, and having a fantastic night here so far. Inside, A.J. Stewart, one-on-one. Oh, gets by Washington, and tough bucket.
AJ
And deked the short
Stewart.
straight off of him, and it's a 4-point game, 49-45 on that nice move by Stewart.
Yeah, he is perfect from the field, Dan. 3 for 3, 6 points on the night now for Stewart.
Rattles in and out that shot there by Watson. And once again, this very quiet, nervous Scotiabank Center, not making too much noise, looking up at the clock and probably really anxious and not liking the results so far. But the Hurricanes have some fight, and of course they're doing this here with 10 people tonight as Poole is injured and Taquan Zimmerman with a bruised heel out of the lineup. Washington, very athletic move, but no finish.
Man, Terry Thomas is amazing defensively there. He was able to alter the shot from Billy, force him into the pass, and he made it tough for CJ. He's making that tough as well. Terry Thomas is just playing outstanding thus far here in this series.
Thomas over Watson, no good, and the weak side rebound right there.
Yeah, probably not the
Gathered there
shot.
by Mason.
Definitely probably not the shot that Coach Salerno wanted out of that offensive set after that great defensive individual play there by Thomas.
Al Stewart not too happy with Ryan Lute's call. Going to be called for the hold.
Storm foul on Al
That's the
Stewart.
15th
his
foul,
second
2:26
team
left to
foul.
go, and for Al
Number
Stewart, his second personal.
5.
Still talking to Ryan Lutz. Now also taking the case for him here is lawyer Joe Salerno trying to plead the case as White will inbound. Wake Scales uses the Washington screen to get a little bit of room. Tipped by Thomas. Thomas, a one-man show so far.
Yeah,
An
taking
offensive
over.
a loose ball foul called against Watson of the Hurricanes.
Hurricane foul
Got to be
on
impressed.
Watson.
If you're watching
His
this
first
game for the first time and you're
team
watching Terry
foul.
Thomas play
Number
basketball,
5.
you got to believe professional basketball usually, within the game in North America, there's a lot of Americans playing basketball and they usually dominate the sport. But you could never tell that Terry Thomas is Canadian, especially a product here from the Maritimes.
Well, he had 1 year overseas playing basketball. I can't remember the exact country, but
It was a very good
Yeah.
season overseas, and
Yeah.
as he, basically took a pay cut, came back home, wanted to be close to family and friends, and get it done here in a league that's in his home base and in his country, and be close to those family and friends. But right now, he's taking over this game, and it's all coming on the defensive side. The last 2 trips down, he was able to get into the face of Billy White and get into the face of C.J. Washington, and he just turned that turnover there with the active hands.
Salerno calls timeout here, 49-45. And we'll step aside for a second. We'll be back with more action here on NBL Canada YouTube. 1:50 left to go here till halftime. Ellis gets by Washington as Washington blows the tire. Now it's a pretty easy bucket. It's a 6-point lead. 51-45. Coming up to 90 seconds left to go here till halftime. A steal. Thomas going back the other way, 2-on-2. And fouled. An end-to-end rush there by Terry Thomas. As you take a look at the steal on replay.
Yeah, Thomas once again, active hands in that 3-2 zone, and he's been very good. I mean, you got to give credit to Coach Salerno making that adjustment halfway through the game in game number 1, and they have found a formula that shut down this Halifax Hurricane offense, and it's been very good at times. They were giving up second chance, third chance opportunities. Halifax was putting it to them. They were able to cement a 8-point lead, but ever since the timeout and the adjustment made on that 3-2 zone, and basically the effort and detail, attention to detail by the Island Storm, they've been very good playing this 3-2 zone.
Will stay at 51-45, unsuccessful that trip. Here is White now, had hands at his face. Put it right under the hands of Richter. Stewart swatted away. Otieno with the get that garbage out of here moment here on a Tuesday night. White, tough take.
Billy
Yeah, there it is. There it is. Things get where Halifax breaks down offensively in their half-court sets and they get into trouble. As we take a look here, Billy in the run-out. Nice decision there by Clint Scales. Clint Scales had an outstanding game in game number 1. Had a season high with 16 assists. And picking up from game number 1 is Clint Scales, as Billy was able to finish off the window and give himself an opportunity for a 3-point play. But when things get bad for Halifax in their half-court set stand is when they get the ball and they're waiting with the basketball underneath the basket, and then that help comes, either coming from Jahi Carson when he was in the game, and now it's Al Stewart. With that rotation, those active hands and extraction, they can't make the proper pass, trying to throw it basically across the court, and those active hands are getting active and are deflecting the ball and they're going back the other way.
Stewart did everything right but didn't finish. Richter, short rim. Second chance, Stewart.
Smallest man on the court, Al Stewart, with another offensive rebound and putback. That's his second on the evening. Like I said, I mean, when Jahi Carson went to the bench, I didn't think Coach Salerno had to worry because Al Stewart has been playing outstanding basketball.
It's a 5-point game. Otieno.
A lot of contact.
From downtown in the corner for the 3, and it's contact. It's a big bucket there and a big spot here for a guy that didn't get a lot of minutes there in the first half.
Absolutely.
Or, pardon me, the season.
Exactly. Otieno picking up the slack. You know, you mentioned two guys not available tonight, Taquan Zimmerman and Mike Poole.
Mason puts it up, and it just hits the glass, and that's how this first half ends.
Yeah, you know they're behind 2 points. You got to be happy if you're Coach Mike Leslie. You know, you're not too happy about the defensive side of things because they're not really getting a lot of stops, but offensively they've been able to make some adjustments, but they got to continue to be consistent with the basketball and not turn it over. In that first 24 minutes, 11 turnovers, and out of those 11 turnovers, off of those turnovers, the Island Storm haven't been basically killing them. They only got 5 off of those turnovers, but they got to clean that element up. They cannot continue to turn it over against that 3-2 zone because they're basically playing into the hands of that 3-2 zone, and that's been the strength so far for the Island Storm and the reason why they have a 1-0 lead.
And halftime here at the Scotiabank Center. We're going to step out 53-51. The Island Storm leading the Hurricanes by 2, and they lead the best of 7 series 1 game to 0. And we'll be back in about 14 minutes with second half coverage here on NBL Canada YouTube.
and their defense has been their strength. Their 3-2 zone has been very good after making the adjustment in this second half in game number 1 and basically turning the tide on Halifax. Halifax struggled to make adjustments, the in-game adjustments, and break down that defense, but at times they've done a good job in second chance opportunities and guys moving without the basketball. But the key is the guy that catches the ball between the foul line and the restriction zone has to make a great decision on either scoring the basketball or giving it to a teammate.
Second half underway here. 15 seconds in, the shot clock at 8. White, watched there by Ellis. Clock winding down, they'll send it over to Clayskills. He's gonna have to hurry to put it up. The clock's at 2. Didn't quite work out, I'm telling you.
Billy White!
Great awareness. Great awareness.
I'm just amazed that Mason even
yes.
got that close.
Well, he knew. He took
what?
a peek up at the shot clock. He seen it at about 1. He didn't have time to actually elevate and extend that jumper. He just tried to get it to the rim. And the second chance opportunity, the thing that the Island Storm were giving up midway through that first quarter, that basically killed them, they were able to shut down in the second quarter. But a good start here for the Halifax Hurricanes as they're able to get that second chance opportunity. Need more of that offensively.
Tie game now, 53-53, and a blocking foul. The shot doesn't go for Washington, but he will head to the stripe.
Foul on Terrell Baines.
Let's take a look at it here.
Yeah, that's a good decision there.
1.
Good pump fake. Baines just a half a second slow to trying to step in front of CJ there as he was trying to pick up that charging call. So tough call there on Tyrell Baines, but a great decision by CJ individually with the pump fake and move.
My apologies, wasn't a shooting foul, was not in the act, so they did it along the outside of inbound here as that goes now. It's a 55-53 game.
Yeah, Mason's starting to get things going in the second half here, and he was good in that second half for the Hurricanes. They need his offensive output. The 6th man of the year in the National Basketball League of Canada. Most of his games came by way of starting, but in the early going, good
Baines
putback.
with the one-hand finish there on the take there by Jahi Carson. He might have got a wave, a little bit of an elbow on the drive to Clinkscales. Behind the back, Clinkscales to White.
Yeah, they need that productivity from the 6th man of the year. As I just quickly mentioned, that he was able to get that award, and congratulations to Antoine Mason, well-deserved.
That didn't go for the Hurricanes. Had a couple of chances of that possession. No dice. But they just passed the 2-minute mark here in the third quarter. Jahi Carson with a tough take. He stumbles and falls down.
Yeah,
he's behind the play. 5-on-4 now. Watson off the window. No, and Baines quickly to Thomas, and Carson in behind the play and unable to get it there.
He is struggling. He's having a very tough night tonight.
Well, that's a size mismatch. Him trying to shoot over Washington. No, nothing good's going to come out of that.
He's 0 for 9 from the field is Jahi Carson. He's got 0 points. Got into some foul difficulties in the first quarter, and you can see him shaking his head on the court.
Hurricane foul
Carson
on Billy White.
most recently picked up some league hardware as well as the newcomer of the year, and well-deserved as well, averaging 19 points per game for the Island
Billy's
Storm. So
second
Carson's been
personal foul.
very, very
Second
good, but tonight
team
he's
foul.
struggled.
First foul there of the quarter here for the Hurricanes going to Billy White. It's his second personal. Thomas can't hit, and Washington fights with Baines for it. They're continuing the exchange elbows and make their way up the floor here. They're coming up to 3 gone here in the third quarter. Watson through Richter, no good. Watson's second chance over Richter and in.
Tyrone Watson.
A little bit of a defensive mismatch there, Dan, between Richter and Watson, just based on the physicalities. Richter, good defensive player, but better in a zone type situation. When it comes to man-to-man, he may struggle because of the size differential between him and Watson.
Clink had the steal momentarily. Baines off glass too strong, and Billy White going up, comes up with the rock. Quickly up, Mason, bucket.
I like to see that aggressive nature by Mason. He can get it done, especially in transition. And you want to see Clinkscales slowly wind things up here and take control of this game in the third quarter, distributing the basketball in the half court or their mid-transition or full transition after a turnover or a miss.
Thomas taking it strong, and White doesn't get there in time, and Thomas gets the bucket. We'll give it 12. And It's a 2-point game, 59-57. Exactly 4 gone here in the third. Weak side rebound by Baines as the shot's no good. A one and done there for the Hurricanes. Jahi Carson, as Vince mentioned, struggled, but fouled that time there by Mason. And you can see the frustration, and he'll get a little bit of a technical after that there.
If he's not careful, he's going to get a second and be shown the gate. They need Jahi Carson in this game.
Hurricane foul
I know he's
number
frustrated
14.
right now as he took a lot of contact on that last drive, but I think it's building. As we take a look here, behind the back dribble, waits for the defense, and a lot of contact between him and Mason. He's not happy, and he just flings the ball at Ryan Lutz, one of the 3 officials on this evening. So he's not happy at all. So he'll shoot his 2 free throws, but he'll also give the ball to the Hurricanes, and they'll shoot the technicals.
It's going to be his 4th.
And that's not good. Frustrating mounting. As you can see, just looking at the numbers, 0 for 10 from the field. His first points on the night after having a sparkling game number 1, where he was able to get 21 points, and he was definitely a difference down the stretch in the fourth quarter. Him along with Terry Thomas and Al Stewart, as they were able to steal game number 1, but tonight's just been a struggle and a very frustrating one for Jahi Carson. So you would think that Joe Salerno would try to reel him in and get him into a frame of mind where it's a positive frame of mind. Lots of basketball left, and they're going to need Jahi Carson if they're going to try to steal game number 2 here and take a stranglehold on this Atlantic Division final.
59-59, 7:40 left to go. Klink, as they'll swing it around. Mason now brings it into the arc. Watson, Washington, not able to go, and Jahi Carson, my apologies on that. Loose ball fouled, and this one going against Billy White. As the fouls are starting to pile up there on the Hurricanes big man. It's his 3rd.
So on that last defensive trip down, the Island Storm switching back to their 3-2 zone. Able to get that stop and that turnover.
Ellis for 3, no good. One and done as the outside jumper was a little bit of contact there when Ellis put the shot up. Watson now in the paint as we're coming up to the 5-yard line.
That's it right there. That's the recipe. Good ball movement. Not a lot of bounce. Move the ball around. Guys moving in spaces where the defense isn't there, not occupying space, and find the holes. If they continue to do that, get some rhythm here. They got to continue to get some rhythm offensively.
Baines with a long distance 2. 61-61. 6:43 left. Klink Scales puts on the brakes. Gets the return pass for Billy White. White, deep 3, no good. And going up once again, Terry Thomas with the rebound. Everybody thinks about his offense, but I mean, yes. Terry Thomas in terms of rebounds, 260 coming into tonight. Richter for 3, and that's a sign that the Hurricanes don't like to see, is the guy who's got the most threes for them here so far the regular season and playoffs with a tray.
Yeah, running around and miscommunication, a misassignment on that last defensive trip. Wide open jumper for Richter, and he'll hurt you with a standstill 3.
C.J. Washington,
counted there for C.J. Washington, and 1.
Got to continue to be aggressive. Keep pumping that ball inside the paint. CJ continue to work baseline to baseline. From the baseline up to the key area, him and Billy White. They can continue to move without the basketball. Take a peek in that replay there as he was able to battle through the contact and give himself an opportunity to knock down the 3-point play and tie this one back up. But both teams exchanging punches right now in this third quarter. Both teams unable to get any type of sustainable rhythm when it comes to their defensive stops in their offense. But I like the position where the Hurricanes are right now. I mean, they still need to continue to grind things out defensively, but they need to find a formula here and some consistency as Mason's call for the reach here off of that pick and roll.
And we have a timeout on the floor, so Vince and I are going to step away just for a little bit. And, of course, we have the 3 throws coming up here. You're watching the NBL
team foul number 6
here on NBL Canada YouTube. Richter to the line to shoot the free throws and gets the first one to go and gives the Storm a 1-point lead for the meantime and a chance to make it a 2-point lead. And does.
Yeah, Richter's not a guy that you can put on the free throw line. You think he's going to not make free throws. He's going to knock him down amongst the league leaders in free throw percentage from the charity stripe all season long. And can't foul that guy.
Mason, open look as a defensive coverage. Take what's given to you, young man, and puts up the three.
I'll take that, especially coming from Antoine Mason, who's been shooting that shot at a very good high rate and has been very hot from beyond the arc. I'll take that shot every time now because he's been very consistent.
Stewart with the up fake, but
tough break.
As Mason might have been eating some popcorn during halftime as he had a little bit of Butterfingers. It goes out of bounds. 67-66, 5:19 left.
I hope his loved ones are not tuned in. They probably are, but I'm pretty sure he wasn't eating any popcorn in that halftime break. I'm not sure if anybody was eating any popcorn in that Hurricane locker room. They got to be frustrated to think that. I mean, the Island Storm are a good basketball team, and they've done an outstanding job thus far of frustrating the Hurricanes and not allowing them to get into their game. So you got to give credit to Coach Joe Salerno and his strategy thus far, but at some point you got to think that this Hurricanes offense and defense has to break through. And that's a good start right there defensively by CJ.
They're going to get together here.
Oh, it looked like he had the charge.
Hansen was going to call the block,
no,
and then Lutz looked like offensive foul, so now it's Lutz and Hansen.
And they're trying to talk this one over, but it looked like Lutz's call maybe on the baseline as they're kind of to come together as they're talking to the crew chief here, but you may be right. He may be overruled by Hansen, who had probably a better angle from that side there, and it is. Yeah, it's an and one.
Yeah.
Look at the replay here. Oh my goodness, as Halifax Hurricane faithful have an opportunity to see the replay on the big screen on the Jumbotron, and it looked like CJ got there in time and was planted to take the charge, but nevertheless, Richter, the beneficiary of maybe a missed call, goes to the line for an opportunity to complete the three-point play, and make no mistake about it, he's going to make that free throw as Richter was able to knock it down.
69-67, so what was a very quiet crowd a couple of seconds ago, they let you know what they thought.
Well, let's hope that the crowd can get into it, because pretty much throughout, game number one and including game number two here, the crowd has been pretty much been taken out of the action, but it's all on the strength of the play of the Island Storm. They've been able to, excuse the pun, they were able to weather the storm in the first 5 minutes when they went down as much as 8 points, where Halifax were basically getting everything they wanted offensively, and defensively they turned up the tempo, they turned up the intensity, and that's what allowed them to get that 8-point lead. But ever since that point, it's just been ebb and flow. It's been up and down. It's been spurts, no consistency, and this is the reason why the Island Storm are in this game, and they're right there looking to take that stranglehold going into game number 3 in their own building, looking to close this one out and go play for the National Basketball League of Canada Championship in the next round.
Washington 6, both free throws foul to A.J. Stewart. It is his second, fourth team foul. 4:53 left to go.
But there's lots of time left in this. The adjustments, in-game adjustments can continue to play. The chess match continue to play out between these two coaches.
Ellis once again, that deep three that doesn't go. Going to be 3 throws the rest of the way here for the Island Storm. Hurricanes have 17 fouls, and Billy White gets the bucket, shakes his head afterwards, and with a little grimace as well, 71-69.
Yeah, outstanding body control there by Billy. Was able to elude his defender, and Billy's got 19 on the night.
Carson now, who's had a tough night, as Vince mentioned. The up fake there by Ellis, has an open lane. Stewart catch and shoot with the clock winding down, gets the bucket, 71-71.
Yeah, the big man has been showing some outstanding touch from the mid-range, and he's 5 for 4 from the field with 8 points, and most of those points have been coming from the mid-range jumper.
Washington, bucket.
Tit for tat, right back at him, trading baskets.
Big man starting to shoot here.
Yeah, usually it's conventional in basketball is your shooting stroke from the mid-range and from beyond the arc usually comes from your guard play, but the big men from both sides are able to knock down jumpers.
Carson walks the inline and gets the bucket. They'll give him 4, and it's 73-73, so the teeter-totter effect still here on a Tuesday night in the Scotiabank Center, and it goes down.
Outstanding pocket pass here by Clint Scales on that pick and roll between him and CJ. Great patience. Take a look here. Great, beautiful bounce pass inside, tight split in the defense there by Clint Scales to CJ, and CJ making no mistake, playing through the contact, and he'll go to the line with the opportunity to complete the three-point play. Outstanding half-court set by the Hurricanes.
Third for A.J. Stewart. That's a 15th foul, Washington. Here to give it a 3-point lead if he's successful, and does.
So now they need to turn things up defensively. Active hands in the passing lanes, playing the aggressive nature, limit them to this one and done. They need to come up with the stop here, starting to tighten the screws here on the Island Storm and make it difficult for them to score.
Boat back out on the floor, and a nice defensive play, just the nick of time there by the Hurricanes. Stewart, tough take.
There it is again.
A.J. Stewart.
Got to keep Al Stewart off the glass. The smallest man on the court has been making a huge difference when it comes to offensive rebounds. That's got to be Al Stewart's third offensive rebound on the night, and it's come up in timely fashion.
Rare miss there by Haywood, gets nothing. Clock at 10. Good D there by Storm. Here is Whack now. Back out, Thomas thought about it, but a couple white jerseys. There's a steal, and off to the races, but a good foul there in the nick of time there by A.J. Stewart, but unfortunately it'd be his 4th.
Yeah, good foul for sure in the open floor. The Hurricanes had numbers. Good play defensively, knocking that ball away from Terry Thomas, who's very tough to get the ball off his dribble. Turns it over, though, and Hurricanes had numbers back the other way, so a good foul in the open floor, as you called there, by A.J. Stewart. As Thomas will go to the bench along with A.J. Stewart. A little bit of frustration to see in the replay there, and Joey Haywood said he was in the act of shooting, but he was about 50 feet away from the basket, so I'm not sure if he could sell that particular call.
Yeah, Allison replaces A.J. Stewart on the floor. Otieno, that rims out. Cox, tough take. That doesn't fall.
Gotta have it.
Allison and Dixon tied ball.
Gotta have that second chance opportunity, Anthony Cox, and he's been getting a lot of second chance opportunities. Most of the offense is not ran through Anthony Cox. He's a very high energy guy, gets lots of rebounds, but those opportunities in the offensive game, he's got to make them, Dan.
There's Stewart once again driving, and as we mentioned earlier, Hurricanes over the limit, so penalty in effect here. So 2 free throws coming up here for Al Stewart, who is a 69.5% free throw shooter here, and 2 of 2 tonight.
Both teams have their stars. You know who their stars are. They're not going to hide. In some cases tonight, Jahi Carson, who was a star for the Island Storm, a little bit disappearing act, but there's been one guy throughout the first 2 games thus far who's been has a shining light on him, has been done some outstanding things, and it's been number 10 of the Island Storm. It's been Al Stewart. That guy's been doing an outstanding job getting offensive rebounds, second chance opportunities, coming up with timely turnovers, and knocking down free throws, and he's been the difference in this series thus far.
Less than 2 to go here in the third quarter. Haywood spins away. Dixon, shot clock at 5. Haywood has to put it up for 3. No. And a fight there, and Cox goes down. And not sure if he got a finger in the eye, and he's still down as Whack goes up for the layup. Cox still grimacing in pain.
Yeah, it's a fight underneath the basket between him and Ellis and Allison. They are battling underneath that basket area.
Otieno with the up fake out to Clink Scales now. 1:20 left to go in the third. Nice take. Otieno there by Clink Scales as he faked, drew the D over, and then back out
Yes.
Bernardo Dixon gets on the score sheet off the glass and in.
Yeah, I'd like to see a little bit of Ronaldo in this series. Now, he had some quality minutes in game number 1, and he's a good shot blocker, but I mean, Al Stewart's just on another level right now. No fear is able to get that high up going off the window. There's no fear offensively, and he doesn't care who's inside the painted area waiting for him.
Al, the Charlottetown pal there, makes it 81-78. Ellis now, little out of control, and the ball's on the floor. Wack gets it, and you could say Salerno maybe possibly, no we don't, but he was telling them to slow things down there and they take as much time on the 24. Stewart out, Richter 3, and it's a long rim and a long rebound gathered here by the Hurricanes. Clinkscales gets over the timeline, and it's pretty well 0.9 second difference between the game clock and shot clock. No fouls to give here for the Island Storm. Cox comes up, sets the screen there against Stewart. Klink loses the ball momentarily. 1.1 to put it up, and it is a shot clock violation to end the third quarter.
So a good closeout in response defensively by the Island Storm. But in the last 5 minutes of that quarter, it was definitely the Al Stewart show, as Stewart was able to put together some great defensive stops along with some good offense on the offensive end. Stewart on the night, 5 for 9 from the field, 14 points, and he's perfect from the charity stripe, along with 7 rebounds. And 4 of those rebounds were offensively, so outstanding game thus far as Al Stewart controlling this game in the tempo.
Oh, it's the thing that I've also liked too about the Iowa Storm. Everybody got on the score sheet. We talk about Dixon. He was one of 2 Hurricanes that did score. Bowen has it. You know, it's been a solid team effort. And when I talked to Salerno before the game, he talked about the will to win, and they still have the will to win. The hunger is there.
I can't hear you.
And this is just my opinion, but I really thought that the Island Storm were going to be one of the faves in this division. It just didn't work out that way, and they finished third. I was really expected to be like maybe top 2.
A butterfly?
And, it just, as I said, it didn't happen. So to see them coming on now, they seem to
Camel.
find their stride at the right time.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
not how you start, it's how you finish.
Ty Bear.
Right now, both of these teams coming into this series were playing their best basketball. But right now, you can see throughout, game number 1 in that second half, and now carrying over to game number 2, the Island Storm are playing their outstanding basketball and the basketball that Coach Salerno wants them to play. And it's all comes and starts on the defensive end. Making that adjustment on the defensive end has definitely been one of the contributing factors and the reason why they have this lead going into the fourth quarter and trying to take this 2-0 lead heading back to their home court over at the Eastlink Center. And if they win this, it's a stranglehold. You might not want to say it because it's our broadcast, the Hurricanes broadcast, but the Hurricanes may be in trouble going over to the island and try to get things back in place. They need a split. And if I'm Coach Mike Leslie right now, I'm talking to my team that we need to play some desperate basketball right now. We probably haven't had to play desperate basketball all season long, but we need to play it right now.
Yeah, Game 3 of this series will be Thursday night, and NBL Canada YouTube will have that. Peter Rutgeiser as well as Gord McNeely will have the call for that one there. Of course, the broadcasters of the Island Storm. Dixon, Clinkscales on the floor, Haywood as well as Cox. Good to see that he's still out there and okay. Was Favor entering there the closing minutes of that third quarter, 81-78. Clinkscales with the ball, shot clock at 10. Dixon, up fake, Wack puts his hands up, Dixon drives, offensive foul, and not to the liking here of the Scotiabank faithful here watching the Hurricanes, Vince.
And I'm not sure if I can agree with them. I mean, just take a look here. Good up fake blow by Wack. A little bit of minimal contact there on States as he was able to draw that charging call. But, I mean, from that angle, from where we are, from our broadcast area, it didn't look like it was a charge, but definitely a blocking call, but you got to give Brad States credit. That's his second charge call in the night.
Allison with a bucket, and the Storm bench jump up in jubilation, 83-78. And for Allison, that would give him 4 tonight.
Coach Leslie didn't waste any time inserting back the starters, the two bigs in Washington and White. Got to log big minutes when the playoffs. There's no tomorrow.
Yeah. State's called for the foul. There he is up on your screen right now, folks. As Vince mentioned, his former Acadiac Spit as well as UPEI Panther.
You see in the replay there, a blocking foul as he was unable to step in front of Anthony Cox. Looked like he had better position on that possession than he did on the previous one where he was able to draw the charge call.
Hand in the face of Washington, making that shot difficult. Whack with the ball now. Couple of nice moves. States athletic and the bucket. And once again, Nortman Ellis and Stewart jump off the bench, and all of a sudden things start to get a little bit uncomfortable here for the reigning champs, 85-78.
You need to knock down that jumper right there. Haywood needs to knock down the jump shots.
Haywood has to step up his game. As we mentioned off the top, Zimmerman not in the lineup, bruised heel. He put the tweet out last night. Allison, and it stays up there and down, and all of a sudden, that bench there of the Island Storm has some life to them.
Well, it's not coming from the usual suspects, that's for sure. Their offense, Allison on consecutive baskets, States with a beautiful finish in their mid-transition, running without the basketball, got lost in a defensive matchup. And now another rebound by Allison, so the reserves taking over here for the Island Storm.
This is a big possession here for the Hurricanes. 2 possession. They don't want to make it go down 3. Allison with the ball. Give it go to Whack now. Clock at 8. Allison inside the paint. Thought about putting it up. Washington with the good D. Clock winding down. States. And it's going to be a 24-second shot clock violation, as States was pretty well in no man's land to get a shot away.
Yeah, there it is right there, the aggressive nature. Now Pride is starting to step into the forefold here. You got to understand that the reserves are on the court for the Island Storm. You have your starters here who've been very good, and C.J. Washington and White. Clint Scales attempts to 3.
Last year, those were falling for him. This year, not so much. And we'll stay with the Hurricanes. Goes out of bounds with 9:22 left to go.
And the big boys need to step up, Dan. And the big boys are number 20 and number 23. And Stewart checks back into the game, but you got to be happy if you're Coach Joe Solano out of the effort out of Allison. He didn't hurt you. He gave you production, defensively and offensively.
They're probably one of the reasons why they got him acquired from the Niagara River Lions late in the season. Haywood, and look at how fired up he is, pounding on his chest. But he'll have a chance to complete the 3-point play.
As you can see in the replay, good ball movement, good hesitation, the floater there, and through the contact, Haywood knocks down consecutive jumpers from the corner, from the other side of the corner, and he's all fired up. And Haywood trying to get Scotiabank faithful into this game, as they pretty much been sitting on their hands throughout since about around the 5-minute mark of the first quarter. So Haywood injecting some life into this crowd and injecting some life into this lineup.
They get a 1-possession game and does, 87-84. Let's see if they can get a lift off that one here and get some stops here. Hurricanes down 1 game in the series. And are 9:04, possibly, if the results stay as it is right now, going down 2. But lots of basketball, as Vince mentioned here, before this one's said and done.
We got lots of time left, 9 minutes, over 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter. We got a long way to go before this one's going to be decided. But a huge foul call on Billy. He's got 4 now. It's a great decision offensively by Brad States to take Billy off the dribble, but they need to stop right here.
They might get one here. Thomas there with 6 to shoot, back out. States now, clock at 3. Oh, couldn't get it to go, but A.J. Stewart there on the weak side with the putback.
Just as good as he set up that second chance opportunity, as he was able to blow by his defender and had no choice but the help came late, and they had to open up that backside offensive guy.
A.J. Stewart is going to be called for the foul there. It'd be his fifth. Decision time for Salerno.
And AJ's been pretty solid tonight, 5 for 6 from the field, 10 points, along with 2 rebounds.
Allison coming back, and not much of a surprise, but he's earned this minutes here that he's going to play as White gets it in.
Yeah, not much of a drop-off. Mike Allison's been good, as you mentioned. 3 for 5 from the field. He's got 5 rebounds, and he's got 6 points on the night. And in particular, he's been very good here in this fourth quarter, providing a good defensive spark as well as offense. They don't run the offense through him, but getting those second chance opportunities have been good.
Thomas goes out of control and loses the ball. Turnover here. And the Hurricanes try to inbound quickly as Clink Scales crosses the timeline. 8:20 left to go, 3-point game. Thomas all over him. Thomas goes down to the floor, quickly up. Mason, Clink Scales has to go and retrieve it now. Shot clock at 9. Mason now on the drive. Stops, pops, bucket. 89-88.
Might have gotten away with the push off there, but a great decision after the ball was scrambled away there and the shot clock dwindled as Mason was able to knock down that jumper.
2-on-1, Clink Scales. Now more numbers, White.
You gotta be kidding me.
Bucket by Billy White.
You got to be kidding me.
Fall, that's worth a
You
look.
got to be kidding me. Billy White with outstanding ball. You can see here in the replay. Nice dribble handoff as Brad States steps into Billy, and Billy on his left hand, his strong side of left hand here, was able, falling to the ground, was able to get it just enough on that touch. And as it bounced off the backboard and off the rim and in.
Oddly, Stevenson, keep that one and put that one there for the plays of the week, because that was sweet.
Absolutely.
We're going to step out here for a second, and we'll be back with more of this great one in just a couple moments here on YouTube. Probably there hasn't been a lot of noise made here by the Hurricane Force tonight, but they're still buzzing after that great shot there by Billy White.
Definitely a reason to get off their feet and make sure that they are heard for the remainder of this 7:47 that's left in this fourth quarter. Billy White has played an outstanding basketball game. He's been able to keep his defensive things in check, not getting into foul trouble, and able to play throughout the game here. And he's been coming up big offensively as he knocks down his 26th point of the night, 10 of 18 from the field. He's been pretty much, outstanding. And 11 rebounds to go around with it. 10 rebounds.
Double-double, Allison with the hook and in. It's 91-91.
Wow, no offense, but who is Mike Allison right now? Right now, he's playing like a superhero. That's 8 points for him, and he's 4 for 6 from the field.
I could give you a really silly answer for that one. He's the guy wearing orange number 2.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But if you're thinking, throughout the season, where has Mike Allison been? But right now, we're in the playoffs. We're thinking, well, who's gonna come at you? As Rashad Wack attempts the 3. Terry Thomas is going to come at you in full force. Jahi Carson is going to come at you in full force. You got guys like that. They're going to come at you offensively. Outstanding play there.
You were talking about the big man, White, Washington. The 2 big W's coming up there, and they got together for that bucket, 93-91.
And then you got to mix in Akeem Ellis, but Mike Allison, I'm not sure of the Hurricanes' game plan to shut down Mike Allison in the fourth quarter in a crucial game number 2.
Allison now and 1.
Wearing the cape. Wearing the cape right now is Mike Allison, who's playing probably the game of his life. I haven't seen too many games on the professional level from Mike Allison playing in the Central Division, but right now he's playing the game of his life, and Coach Joe Salerno is riding the wave of Mike Allison right now as he was able to finish through the contact and give himself an opportunity to complete the 3-point play.
Well, this is the thing. This is what's so great about playoff sports in general. Anybody can step up and be a surprise.
And you were looking at the numbers. You were trying to see if there was some outstanding numbers, but you were digging and you couldn't find any. I'm telling you, right now this guy is playing probably his best game in a crucial situation, especially in the playoffs. He's coming up big right now.
In his time with the Iowa Storm, he had 3.9 points a game, so he's well above that. And the meantime, Salerno had his hands on his head, not too pleased. Paul Henson coming over, and once again, Salerno shaking his head. Out of camera range right now as we take a look at C.J. Washington, hunched over there along the free throw line.
And he almost picked up that charging call as Mike Allison is a little bit of theatrics as he's down on bended knee right now. As it looks like A.J. Stewart. Yeah, well, he was down on bended knees. You can see through the replay there. Took a brunt of that contact, and it looked like it came in the facial area. But he's been outstanding, in particular in this fourth quarter.
Well, I'm no doctor, but that nose does not look that good.
11 points. That's definitely a playoff high for him. 5 for 7 from the field and 5 rebounds. So Coach Salerno eking out every little bit that he possibly can from his reserves, and you got to give it to us. Right now, they have an outstanding advantage at a 51-24 from their bench scoring. Is the Island Storm.
95-94, 6:13 left. In for a dandy of a finish here from the Scotiabank Center. And game 3 should be pretty good, but who's going to be? Is it going to be 2-0 for Storm or 1-1? Washington jumping it. You got to be careful, son, or you're going to get another foul to boot. As we take a look at it there, it's tried to tie the ball up there, and for Washington, his 5th.
Yeah, that's a huge foul on CJ, his 5th personal. Just under 6 minutes to go here. They definitely need CJ along with Billy White. It's been the difference since they checked back into this game early in the fourth quarter. Just having their presence and the ability to move the basketball from big to big and make outstanding decisions underneath the basket have been good of breaking down that 3-2 zone of the Island Storm.
Stewart catch. Gives him a lead on that second one, and it's 95-95, 5:55 left. And all of a sudden, this crowd starting to wake up and try to will the defending champions on, but they're one and done, and that really didn't look like a good possession that time.
Not a good shot there by CJ as there was 3 guys on him as the defense collapsed inside on him, so good defensive possession by the Storm. Can't wake up this guy. This guy cannot get going if you're the if you're the Halifax Hurricanes. You can't allow Terry Thomas to get going offensively.
As Thomas, pardon me, 97-95, 5:20 left to go. The Thomas show starting to get underway here, and that's not good news if you're a Hurricanes fan watching back home. Of course, some of the Island Storm fans probably watching back in Charlottetown, Summertime, Tignish area. They're liking what they see out of him as we head to another timeout, 97-95. Step out for a bit, and we'll be back here on NBL Canada on YouTube. .5:18 left to go, 2-point game, 97-95, Storm up, and they're up by 1 in the series. Looking to take a commanding 2-0 lead here by the time this one's done tonight. Mason with the ball, he'll have something to say before this one's in the books here on a Tuesday night here from the Scotiabank Center. There's White now on Ellis, whack comes over. Mason, yes! For 3!
Clutch, that is clutch. Timely jump shot, good ball movement.
And the lead now, 98-97.
Big shot there from beyond the arc by Mason. 3 for 7 from downtown, 7 for 15 from the field, 17 points on the night.
And Ellis follows up, and now he has an and one coming up.
But it's not the offense, Dan, it's the defense that we just can't see some consistency. Defensive responsibilities are just not there. They've been lacking. They lacked throughout game number 1. It's particularly in the fourth quarter where they just were unable to get any stops. And right now they are struggling right now to find stops here and dig in defensively. But they need to find stops if they're going to be successful and win this one and head over to Charlottetown being 1 game apiece. If not, like you said, it's going to be the commanding league and a stranglehold of this series with a 2-0 lead with games 3 and 4 over at the Eastlink Center.
Let's take a look at the television feed here tonight. There is a Hurricane player out on the floor being assessed to right now, just in front of the scoring bench, right in front of the PA announcer Chris Lydon, as well as the official scores and the score clock.
And it looks like it's CJ Washington's in a lot of difficulty here. Looks like his lower bodies look like it's either an ankle or a knee. That's not good. That's not a good look for the Hurricanes.
A Maywell play continues on as Washington is getting a help there off the court. A concerned hush has gone on in the building. In the meantime, Billy White will have to step up, and it's a 100-100.
That needs to continue every single time down. Billy White needs to have possession of the basketball. The offense needs to be run through Billy White. He needs to make the decision if Clint Scales is not the guy driving the bus.
Mason and Ellis almost.
That's a playoff foul right there.
Yeah, almost did a little tumble over him.
That's a playoff foul. Not giving up that layup or not giving up the act of shooting there is Akeem Ellis. As you can see in the replay, Clint Scales with a good decision on the baseline, and he just barrels through him. and he didn't even give Mason an opportunity to coil and shoot it, but great sportsmanship displayed there by Ellis as he was able to talk to Mason, make sure he was all right.
Once again, I was looking at the television feed, and they saw he was just stopped. C.J. Washington stopped, and then the next thing you know, he was bent over and had to be helped off seconds ago. So
let's hope that he's okay as the medical staff and training staff of the Hurricanes attend to him. Never want to see a player leave the game because of an injury.
And all of a sudden, the injury bug, they didn't have Poole tonight or Zimmerman, and if they have Washington, they'll be playing with 9. And
that's huge.
We've seen teams come here play 9 against the Hurricanes when they had their full 12, and it has not been a good thing. Clinkscales.
Wow.
And look again, and all of a sudden, the fans are irate. Some of the ownership groups standing up in front of our broadcast location irate, pleading for a call from Hansen, Hunt, and Lutz, and none are coming. And now the Boo-Birds coming out. Leslie just says, play on, boys, just play on, and that's exactly what they're doing with 3 to go.
Yeah, they need to just continue to dig in here defensively, not allow what happened down on the other end offensively to affect them, and just play their game.
Meantime, Mason tried to piggyback Stewart there, and it's going to be called for the foul.
Yeah,
5 to shoot, and that's a bailout, Vince.
That's a tough call. And the bailout to what? I mean, they didn't even need that call.
Yeah.
They could have basically let them play on with all the physicalities you can see in the replay here. As Mason's trying to fight over that screen. Oh, this is the replay with Clinkscales through the contact. A lot of bump there. That's definitely, even though it looked like Clinkscales might have initiated that contact, but there was definitely contact on a defender engaging into the offensive player. This is basketball now. I mean, defensive players do get advantages based on situations, but when it's the offensive player definitely has the advantage when he has possession of the basketball and he's attacking the rim. And on that particular trip down, according to that replay, it looked like there was some contact initiated by both players, but if it's 50-50, in that case, you got to give the nod to the offensive player. So a missed opportunity there for the Hurricanes, but they can't allow this to affect them, Dan. They got to fight through it and find a way to come up with a W here and get some good defensive stops and be good offensively as well.
Cox, babies, one-hand slam.
That's a huge possession there in the half court. Great decision distributing the basketball by Clinkscales.
Must not have impressed Lloyd too much. He got 1 Howells out of 3 or 1 Ric Flair woos out of 3.
But this is not the time to trade baskets either. They got to dig in defensively and find a way to get stops.
103. Closing stages here on a Tuesday night. Hurricanes easily dismantled the Moncton Miracles in ease. A good morning, good afternoon, good night series, 3 straight, in for a dogfight as promised, and it has lived up to that. Less than 2 to go.
And that's a quick call on Cox.
A little do-si-do with Cox and Carson there.
Take a look at the replay here. Cox trying to fight through the screen of A.J. Stewart. Arms getting tied up between Carson and Cox. Carson not happy as he thought there wasn't going to be a foul call.
Almost a square dance here on a Tuesday night.
As he swung the ball to the corner now, but free throws are going to be big. 1:56 left in the fourth quarter. Both teams in the penalty. So each possession definitely got to be treated like goal. But if you're Halifax, you got to continue to pound the basketball inside, attack the rim. Don't settle for jump shots unless they are standstill, wide open shots, and you think you're going to make them. They got to be high percentage shots, and the high percentage shots this evening have been coming inside that painted area. If you take a quick look at the numbers, Billy White's got 28. He's 11 for 22. You got to get the ball inside the Billy and run the offense through him.
Mason with the ball, 1:47 left to go, and 2-point game. Mason, 3, no good. Battle there, loose ball, and the Hurricanes come up with it, much to the dislike of Joe Salerno. And a foul called.
Great decision there by Mason to attack the rim and not settle for the jumper. But you got to give credit to Anthony Cox. Anthony Cox not giving up on the play, staying with it. You can take a look here as he swung the ball to Mason there. Mason was able to break down the defense, and rightfully so, that's the right call. A.J. Stewart not happy, but that's a frustration foul from A.J. because A.J. thought he was molested and fouled by Anthony Cox after he grabbed the defensive rebound.
Well, he's up
still
on the screen.
to
If the kids are watching back home, don't read lips.
Yeah, absolutely, don't.
Well, he had a little bit to say, go by the scoring table, and once again, that was a
not PG rated.
Yeah, well, that's it. You know, if we had the
rated
ability,
R.
if we had the ability, we'd have a little button here, and we could actually, press to get the, black to go over the lips there. But
there you go.
We don't have that ability yet.
Oh, huge,
down.
Huge free throws. Huge free throws in a clutch situation from Antoine Mason, who struggled from the charity stripe all season long, but he's coming up big here in this fourth quarter.
Carson with a lane. Cox
he's not
gets
getting
over
that
there
call.
in time.
Frustrated, but he's not getting that call, especially Clint Scales not getting the same one down the other end. No way.
Mason too strong on that one, and going up with the big board that time was Ellis.
Might have been too quick on that possession. I like his aggressiveness to attack the rim, but too quick in that possession.
1 to go, 105. Carson back out. Thomas, does he have a dagger in him? Not this shot. Blake Scales with the weak side rebound, and we'll slow it down.
Outstanding run out and getting a hand and making it difficult by Tyrone Watson. Timely defensive possession stopped by the Hurricanes.
The fans will tell you what happens here on this possession. 36 seconds ago. That's not what I was expecting. Richter,
not a good foul.
Watson.
Not a good foul down the other end.
They want 2 in the ball. Salerno and Thomas. Will Hanson oblige? Not right now.
No, that's a tough call to call. You can't give them 2 in the ball in this type of situation in a playoff game. But not a good foul on the baseline. Richter had the position. They had numbers coming back the other way off of that turnover, but just not a good foul as you got one of the best free throw shooters in the league on the line. 30.7 seconds left. Timeout called by Halifax. Trying to ice Richter is going to be very difficult to do. Who's been showing and has been displaying ice water in his veins from the charity stripe. So tough situation right now, Dan.
72 of 116 coming into tonight to the combination of regular season and playoffs, and Mike Leslie's got to try to freeze it right now with this timeout. So we'll step out and we will have the conclusion of this one in just a couple of seconds here on NBL Canada on YouTube. As we take a look at some of the fans here trying to make noise and get in the head of Richter, who's got 2 big free throws, as Vince was mentioning. He's been not too bad from the free throw line, 62% coming into tonight. Big throws here.
Yeah. Big spot in the game here for Al Richter. Like I said, this guy's been displaying ice water in his veins. Is he able to knock down the first? But it looks like there was a stoppage in play.
I don't think they whistled play in, so they'll have to redo that one. And
Yeah, Coach Salerno not happy, asking what the heck are you doing? So Richter's got to do it all over again, make 3 free throws instead of 2. Oh, wow, he almost short-armed that first one. It didn't look as smooth as the first one he took. Let's see what happens in the second.
Let's reassess the situation here after this 3-throw. 1 timeout to give, or 1 timeout left for the Hurricanes. No fouls to give here. 107 to 105.
Winning time right here. They need a bucket, need to either tie or take the lead.
7 seconds difference between the game clock and the shot clock. Thomas has the ball, and Clay Scales fouls and looks away, and all of a sudden, a shocked Scotiabank Center. Don't know what to say and don't know what to think of this.
Confusion on the last few trips down in their half-court set. I mean, they've been pretty good tonight with great ball movement. Guys moving without the basketball as Thomas misses the first. So a little bit of an opening here for the Hurricanes. So still lots of time left though, Dan. 19.1 seconds left, and basketball's almost an eternity.
And 6 Elwood, and Leslie will use his last timeout that he has.
And that'll advance the basketball to the half court from the back court to the front court. So makes it even a little bit closer and an opportunity for the Hurricanes to tie this one up. But the last 2 possessions, not picture perfect and not out of the playbook of the Halifax Hurricanes. Back-to-back turnovers, but confusion. It looked like guys weren't moving without the basketball, and guys were standing around looking for someone else to get the job done. When throughout the basketball game, when they've been successful, they were moving the basketball, moving the defense, finding the gaps in that 3-2 zone, and distributing the basketball to the right person at the right time. The bigs were moving without the ball. They were getting into spots where they can get it and generate an advantage on a 3-on-2 or a 2-on-1 just inside that painted area. But on those last 2 possessions, you can see a little bit of tightness and a freeze in that offensive possession, and they turned it over, and they need a huge possession now. I'm not sure what Mike Bless is drawing up, but if I'm the Island Storm, I'm fouling early and not even allowing them to attempt the 3-point shot to tie this one up. Put them on the free throw line, force them to knock down a couple free throws, and just play it a possession game and turn this one into a free throw competition. But with doing that, you better make sure that you get the inbound in if you're going to give up the 2 points. Make sure you get the inbound in, not turn it over, because then if you do turn it over, you can lose the game on a winning basket at the buzzer.
The fans may look relaxed there on the screen, but we know that that's not the way that everybody feels. As you
tense moments. This is one right now. They need to get a good inbound here. Now, I'm not sure that Joey Haywood's checked into the game, so you got a little bit more 3-point shooting. You got the 2 best free-point percentage shooters on the floor right now, in Haywood and Ronaldo.
Clay Scales with the ball, shot clock shut off. Clay Scale drives there, through the paint, doesn't go, loose ball. And it will stay with the Hurricanes with 10.9 ticks to go, and Clink Scales gets a little help there from the big man Dixon to get him off the floor.
Now with 10.9 seconds left, it looks like the Storm are going to play this one out defensively as they went to their man-to-man now, not in their zone.
Clink Scales for 3.
Yes! Clink Scales, prayer answered! Woo! I'm going to throw a Ric Flair one in there. Huge 3, the biggest 3 of his career, I'd say right now.
He was
playing in that uniform.
He was missing a lot of that during the regular season, and puts it up at 108 to 108.
The captain.
That's why he's the captain, yes, exactly.
Take a look at this, folks. Clint Scales, nothing there. Things getting dire, and bang, he's able to knock down the triple from beyond the arc, all net, and looking from appreciation from the faithful. Bad step through by Ellis as he took a route through that pick and roll underneath instead of fighting over top. Created that space for Clint Scales to get a look from that distance, and he makes no mistake, able to hit the twine. All net.
I like the reaction. It's like, yeah, big deal. Whoopee.
Just
Still
another
knows
spot.
Yeah, still knows there's still time, so. Boy, what a big one. You talk about the white play earlier, that one, that's another one there for the racking up at the plays of the week. Hint, hint.
Huge bucket from beyond the arc by Clint Scales, stepping up. And we have mentioned several times throughout the season the struggles from that distance for Clint Scales, but he's found some magic this evening, knocking down that huge triple, deflating temporarily the balloon of the Island Storm when it looked like they were going to get out of Scotiabank Center with 2 huge victories and take a commanding and stranglehold of this series heading back to the Eastlink Center for games 3 and 4. Lots of work left for both teams, Dan. They cannot rest on this 4.8 seconds left. There's lots of time for a catch and shoot opportunity and win it at the buzzer.
Original starters on the floor here for the Island Storm. Thomas, Ellis, Baines, Carson, and Richter. Carson with the ball, 2.1, puts it up, no good.
He got a good look.
Extra basketball here on a Tuesday night.
He got a good
108 after 48.
He got a good look from that distance. It was pretty far out. Bowen gave him a little bit of space, a crack of hope to knock that shot down. I held my breath a little bit as it drew iron, but he got a good look from that distance. We got a new ball game here. Things looked dire down the stretch in the last minute for the Hurricanes. It looked like they were going to go back to the island down 0-2, but life, energy in the building now, an opportunity to build on that energy. Now they need to get some consistent stops. They gotta get consistent defensively. They need to find the defensive responsibility. They need to find a way to get the one and dones. They need to find a way to shut down the cogs of the Island Storm and pull this one out. I talked about it and you talked about it at the top of this broadcast. This is a must-win situation. The way this series has been going, the way they have been playing in the first 4 quarters in game number 1 carried over to game number 2 now as we completed 8 quarters, they need to steal this one. Even though it's a home game for the Hurricanes, this feels like a steal because the Island Storm pretty much did everything and anything they wanted in this ball game. They got contributions from guys that we haven't even heard of.
Mr. Allison
coming off the bench, getting major minutes and contributing. Brad State's doing an outstanding job defensively and offensively, bringing a spark. So at this moment, if you're the Island Storm, you got to keep your composure, but you got to feel a little bit deflated, thinking that the game was well in hand. Terry Thomas had an opportunity to ice the game, knocking down 2 free throws. He only got 1 of 3. So that opened the door, opened the crack a little bit for the Hurricanes. The Hurricanes fumbled around in the first part of that possession with 19 seconds on the game clock, but Clint Scales bailing out the team as he does, and he's been doing since he got here.
That's why they want to work so hard trying to get him to come back. And at one point, he actually put out on Twitter that he was gone as we take a look at that shot there that has got us to where we are at right now. Put out on Twitter over the summertime last year that he wasn't going to return. It took a little bit of hoaxing there by the general manager at the time, Kevin Keithley, to get him to come, and he has stayed here, and the crowd is happy that he has as we're into the overtime quarter, and Terry Thomas with a layup.
That can't happen. That can't happen. The confusion off the pick and roll cannot happen. You can't allow Terry Thomas to turn the corner on the pick and roll without a defender stepping out and closing out and running him away from the rim. And it looks like
Baines not in good shape there, Vince.
Not at all. It
States
looks like his left hand. And it looks like it's a very bad injury as Coach Salerno is attending to him. And it looks like one that nobody even wants to look. And I don't want to look at it either, as the training staff here at Scotiabank Center are looking for extra assistance, maybe looking for a doctor in this case.
Allison took a blow, and he's on the bench right now to the around the nose area. So they have coming away. Big Blake Scales with another 3.
Another bomb, but this one's not a prayer. This one's an answer.
111 to 110. Thomas now in the paint, drives on Watson and over Watson and in.
Got to find a way to keep Terry Thomas away from the painted area. He's been struggling a little bit in his mid-range and his three-point shooting, but all his points have been coming inside the paint. You can't allow him attacking the rim because he's been very good in that particular game plan.
Well, one thing is, when Game 3 happens on Thursday night in Charlottetown, a lot of these teams, a lot of these players are really banged up.
Oh, yeah.
Washington, we saw carried off.
A lot of game time
got
decisions.
A blow to the beak. Bain with the hand. And we just saw a few more players hit the dirt as well. So
it's physical basketball. It's playoff basketball. It's the time of the season where guys are nursing the little knick-knack, ailments, and they're fighting through it. But right now, there's some major ailments to some major cogs in the wheel for both teams.
And you want to talk about what some of the surprise players for the Storm have done tonight. Here's Bowen now. Didn't see a lot in terms of playing time. Out here in the overtime period, hits 1 of 2. Yeah, we'll tied once again, 1-12, 1-12.
That's a big spot for all 10 players on the floor, and that's a good defensive play. That's off the body of Ellis. So Clint Scales
trying to sell for a foul, and the officials not buying it, so things will continue on. 3:52 left, 1-12, 1-12.
That's a good call, Dan, as Clint Scales was able to get a hand in and knock it off the body. As you can see, the chess match continued to play out here between Coach Salerno and Coach Leslie, as Bowen being inserted into the game for defensive purposes, as Antoine Mason is nursing 5 personal, so you need him for his offense.
Mason now double team right in the hands of Ellis.
Yeah, good defensive play there by the Island Storm.
They should try to take advantage of the bigs, because all of a sudden, we talked about Stewart.
Oh, yeah.
He's fouled out. Allison on the bench there. Not sure how well he is after getting a blow close to his nose area.
Small lineup.
Yeah.
The Island Storm are fighting through it in this one. A 3-2 zone as they continue to play, and it's been very effective in spurts here in this throughout this series, and it's very good tonight as well.
Richter gets the return pass from Carson. States tap in.
Carson continuing the struggle from the field, 1 for 16, 6 points, but there's Bradley States there. Bad rotation defensively. Bradley States gets lost in the shuffle, and he's able to get that put back.
Coming up to 3 to go. Watson, tough take.
Gotta have it. Gotta have it.
114, 114.
Good screen and good movement off the ball are the bigs, and that's where the offense is coming through. Continue. Be consistent. Be consistent is the main of the game right now.
Watson, our partner Ray Thomas, drives and fouled.
No answer defensively here for Terry Thomas.
Bowen to return.
Another huge night for Thomas. 9 for 15 from the field, 22 points.
Billy White out. So
that's a huge loss.
Yeah, so we lost Washington. Well, Hurricanes lost Washington, or injury earlier. Watson down 6 fouls. So
who do you go to? Who do you go to now? I mean, you got your best player, has been your best player throughout the playoffs, gone.
And Thomas struggling from the stripe now. He had a chance, as you mentioned earlier, to ice it and missed that one, so we're still 1:14 on the clock.
So they got to pick up the slack here for Billy. Billy had a huge night himself, 11 for 22, 28 points and 11 rebounds and 5 assists. So they got to find some offense from this lineup. Who is it going to be?
Could be an unsung hero here tonight at the Scotiabank Center, but for which team? The Hurricanes or the Storm?
Nevertheless,
it's a 2.5 left.
Need a hero. Hurricanes need a hero, buddy.
Watson, bounce pass, Bowen, bucket.
Why not?
Georgetown Hoya.
But there it is. I've been talking about it. We've been talking about it all evening long. That entry pass inside that painted area between the free throw line and the arc have been there, and it's just open up offense. Oh, wow.
States goes up once again, and with the putback, 117, 116.
But who is blocking States? Like, who's got States on the rollback, on a pick and roll? If you're going to switch, you better make sure that you block this guy out. 2 possessions, back-to-back possessions. He's been attacking the rim. They're not running any offense for him. He's just picking up garbage.
And the pass a little bit too far out of the reach. Watson and Clinkscales unable to connect.
Yeah, and Haywood was pleading for that ball in the corner as he had a wide open look from beyond the arc. Misconnection there, untimely misconnection between Clinkscales and Watson. One you usually don't see.
There's a steal by Haywood. And the layup. 118 to 117.
Gotta dig in now. Gotta use that fire.
It's an AUS sort of reunion here. Thomas States, Haywood.
At the professional level, it's great to see, and it's a good opportunity for these Canadian players to display all their attributes and talents here on this stage.
Bowen tapped it off the hands of Thomas, and now Thomas.
There's a defensive stop.
Now.
Bowen, outstanding defensive stop individually. Thomas, maybe one too many dribbles.
Clinkscales for three. No, Watson second chance, tapped away. Ellis has it now. But Ellis stepped on the inline, says John Hudd, and now he pleads his case and puts the ball down and shows a little bit of a cooler head.
Playoff basketball is fantastic in the National Basketball League of Canada. I'm telling you, it's been an ebb and flow of emotions for everybody in the building, and I can sense that that type of ebb and flow type of emotions has been carried over on the broadcast as well. And thank you for tuning in for wherever you are. And looking at the numbers, it looks like we got our largest audience all season long, but you got to think the bulk of that has to be the Island Storm faithful, and as well as the loved ones of all these players if they don't have the opportunity to be in this building for this game number 2. So we thank you for joining us and tuning in.
Under a minute left to go. That doesn't go, and States, who's been all over this floor here, came up with that one there.
Missed opportunity.
Storm have a chance here to take the lead with a bucket.
Gotta buckle down here. Gotta tighten the screws.
Stewart, Thomas, Carson, Richter, and States on the floor here. Thomas driving, fouled there by Bowen.
This seems to be the problem where they're playing too tight to Terry Thomas. They're actually optioning him to give him away, either drive left or drive right. Personally, I would like to back up and give Thomas a little bit of space and see if he can knock down the mid-range jumper and beat me off the dribble that way. That's a tougher shot than driving to the basket, drawing the contact, and getting himself an opportunity to shoot free throws or finishing at the rim, where he's been very good, and then most of his shots have came inside that painted area, as he's been able to execute that type of way.
He hurt his hand 2 minutes ago into this overtime period. We'll see if it affects him here on the free throws. 23 points, 4 of 7 from the stripe. Clinkscale wants the Scotiabank Center to make noise, and it helps.
Tight. That was a tight shot. And see, that's what I'm talking about. That's a free throw. Can you imagine him trying to make that jump shot off the dribble in a tight situation, a game situation? Now, we've seen him do it, but at this point of the game, in this juncture, in this magnitude, I'd like to see him attempt it.
Sinks it, so
ice water in his veins. Ice water in his veins, able to knock that one down.
There's got to be a 6-second difference between the game clock and shot clock, so they will get another chance if the Hurricanes score. Clinkscales driving. Bucket! 120 to 118. Joe Salerno says, let's cool the Jets, pump the brakes, timeout on a Tuesday night as Clinkscales, the team captain, put the team on his back and is trying to carry them here to victory here tonight, and even the series at 1.
Well, I tell you, it's been an impressive fourth quarter for Clinkscales. He's been outstanding. 3 for 9 from the field. He's got 6 points on the night unofficially. He's got 9 assists. This guy's got 6 rebounds, and he has been nothing but clutch down the stretch. And we look for who's going to be the hero, who's going to be that guy when the big wheels step off the platform. Right now, we don't have Washington. We don't have White, who's fouled out of the game. Washington sustained some sort of injury. He's not coming back. He's not available. Clinkscales knocks down the jump shot to tie this game and force it into overtime. Now he's able to break down his defender off the dribble, split the defense, finish off the rim. Looked like he couldn't even see the basket, but he's able to do it. But this is a guy, as you mentioned several times, he's the captain, he's the general, and he's named the general for a reason, because he's won basketball games at the collegiate level. He's won big basketball games at the professional level. Hence last season as a champion, defending champions coming into the season, winning the 2015-2016 National Basketball League of Canada Championship in Game 7 here at Scotiabank Center. And this is an opportunity to cement his presence, his career as a professional basketball player in Halifax, and he has come up big. Now for the Island Storm, lots of time left. 18 seconds is a lot of time left in a basketball game. The ball's going to be advanced to the front court. They're going to be able to inbound from there. They're going to have their opportunity to either tie it or take the lead. Where's the offense probably going to go through? Probably Terry Thomas. Terry Thomas has been very successful in this overtime as well as in the fourth quarter, driving to the basket and creating offense off the bounce. Halifax has to find a way to neutralize Terry Thomas in this possession.
This is a big possession. It goes without saying. 18 seconds left to go. Ellis trying to get away. Does. Here's Al Stewart now. Going through the paint, loses the ball.
Clint Scales.
Hey, look at that, and you can see he gets pumped up into that front row, jumping over the
Clint Scales.
Signs.
And you take a look at the replay if we can get one, and you take a look here. Clint Scales able to get his hand and pick the pocket to Al Stewart, and then the outstanding hustle and the foul. Stewart trying to break down Klink off the bounce, but he wasn't having it. Klink, outstanding effort defensively. Timely possession there defensively, and able to reach in and steal this game and have an opportunity to put this one away from the free throw line. If he can knock down both, pretty much put these guys in the driver's seat of going one-on-one back to the island for game number 3.
You will go to the line here. 2-point lead. As the crowd tells you what happened here a couple of seconds ago. And once again, I'll turn it over to the crowd to let you know what happened.
Shooting is second.
Four-point game, and they're going to have to hurry. 6.4 seconds left. Stewart now. Carson puts up the three. No good. Rebound. Canes win. Even the series at 1-1. And this one, they kind of have to say, whew, we survived that one. Thank you, Captain Blake Scales. 122 to 118.
Outstanding basketball game and resilience and a finding a way. That's what a championship team does. That's a pedigree of a championship team. Finding a way to win down the stretch when things are not going your way. And Clint Scales was the cog in the wheel for the Hurricanes in the clutch moments. Billy White was very consistent, was very good, but it was the play of the captain, the general, the leader of this team, able to put his team on his back, hit the big shot in the big moment, and carry it over into overtime and give them the W. That's what great players do in great situations.
Well, to have a fantastic series, you got to have a great game, and this one was for both teams. But the defending champs show why they are defending champs. Bend but don't break. So that will wrap things up here. Fantastic game, 122 to 118. So for my broadcast colleague, Mitch Williams, and the entire Silver Vision crew, we want to thank you for tuning in. And if we are going to have a Game 5 in this series, so we will be back here for that next week. And we look forward to talking to you then. So on behalf of everybody here at the Scotiabank Center, Dan Hobson saying so long. Good night from the Scotiabank Center in Halifax, Nova Scotia.